Hi guys, another Sunday morning video. Hopefully the radio's not on. Nearly. Lose my YouTube before I even start the video. Yeah, so last couple of weeks been extremely busy because I've been down in London. I might actually start sticking some of my photos and mini videos on the channel, because at the moment I shove them all on Instagram. Which, if you're interested, then just ask and I'll share my account. That's a bit more of a regular update, because a lot of this stuff's just general, you know, in the sense of here I am, I'm at Victoria train station. But like this week, I'm still gearing up for finding my new route, and it's quite funny because I've been thinking about this a fair bit, and when I get back to the house later, I'll share you my new reading list, because I've been buying a fair chunk of books. Because I think one of the problems I've noticed, and this is why I say, where I understand where some people come from, where it's like, oh, it's easy for you and that sort of stuff, is it's very easy to become embedded in what you're doing day to day, or feel like it's easy for others, because it's very easy to get into a rut. So for me at the moment, when I've done 28,000 steps around London in a day, going back and reading and working something else out at 10 o'clock at night suddenly doesn't seem so high in the agenda, yet it's actually what I need to get out of this. It's like the weekends, because I'm doing that many steps and stuff around London, you become a little bit, not deflated, you just want some respite to actually recover, especially when the weather's rough. Now, this all may sound like excuses, it's not. My point being is, I get it, I suffer with the same stuff. That's why I sort of go, yeah, I get it, because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and not everything is so plain sailing, not everything is easy, not everything goes my way. I mean, my brother's recent death, although I'm not too involved in that after the whole saga with my sister and what they got up to with the inheritance, which I'm glad to be so disappointed, very disappointed, because it's obviously created a massive division to the point I've just called it a day, moved on. But they created that mess, I was quite happy just to leave it to the probate court to sort everything out, but no, I've got to have it to suit myself, which is basically what happened. And now one of my other siblings has now died, and I'm not expecting things to get better for the other one, to be fair. But anyway, not going to go into that too much. It's all negative stuff. It's all in the past. There was I actually seen this on YouTube this morning. They're on about cutting people off. It says you're not cutting people off. You're giving them back. And I think that's a better way of putting it, because it's like a lot of people, the separations are caused by events or things that end up going, okay, enough's enough, I'm moving on. So you sort of, I think giving back is probably a better way of putting it, because you are actually just saying, okay, you get on with your lives, you get on with whatever you're doing. I'm not going to get involved, or, well, there's just no common sense, or even trying to inject it was impossible. So you sort of go, okay, move on. So we move on to where we are at the minute. So, like I said, been tied down a lot with work. Then I've got, like, the weekend now, I'm actually just going to go to get a tripod stand for the mobile, because I think I took the other one back to the Philippines, to Spain. Bizarrely was to do with this video, and I thought, well, it's actually a bit better to do it in the car since I'm not sat around the house. So here we are. But I'll get the stand anyway, because part of moving this forward is actually having stuff to update, and having stuff to update pushes me to create content, which means I have to do things to show that I'm actually progressing. Now, I think since the last video, I don't know if I brought it up about separating the savings account, because the Spanish bank's done something. I'm going to check if it's legal, because they've got interest on interest due to early payment, because obviously they stack it up front anyway, so in theory you've already got the interest on the mortgage, because that comes as an upfront payment. Then there's that monthly payment piece. So I'm a bit unsure how they could do it, and I'm not sure if it's legal. And I think it's because I paid, I think, over 25,000 of my mortgage off last year, and I've managed to, because I'm looking at it, rather than going, oh well, not doing nothing with that, I'll do, waste the money, spend it on something else, because I'm not going to lose the interest on the mortgage, or they're going to take an extra percentage. What I've done is opened the savings account here in the UK, which basically I've already got it, I think, 3,500 in the last couple of months. So once that hits 10,000, I can then transfer it over to a, what do you call it, an ISA. I think the bank's doing them at about 4% at the minute. So it's 4% interest per year, but for me it also creates a liquid account, because the money's sat there. So that's a very useful tool for moving forward, because that's now a fund that I'm not going to be sort of touching, A, because I don't need it, but B, it builds up the reserve funds for when we do find a good idea. There's money there to invest in it, or we just keep this rolling to a point it gets big enough that I can live off it. And like I said, it's sitting at 3.5 at the minute, but that also has this other positive effect with it. When you look at your two bank accounts now, I've got my, let's call it the expenditure account, where all my money goes in and comes straight out. Then I've now got, sit below that, a savings account, which is showing a number, which for me encourages me to get that number bigger every month. Hence, I'll look at it and go, I'll stick another 300 in there. Oh, I didn't spend as much this month, move that across there. And it proactively gets you in the right mindset to build it up. Now, some of you may be going, oh, well, why didn't you do something else with it? I needed to get to 10,000 first before I start playing with it, because below that, it's really not worth the effort. At the same time, I've got money in my other account, which basically is my liquid funds, where, I don't know, say I go and buy a load of jeans and then flog them. That'd be the other account, and then the profit off that I would then shove back in the savings account. So yeah, so things are moving a little bit slower than expected, but I often find that man plans, God laughs, springs to mind. So I've just come on to I'm just thinking I might have a Costa coffee today. I don't really like Costa coffee though. I don't know, I'll have a think. That's me getting lost in the thought, seeing that Costa advertising at the side of me. If you're ever in Northampton down at Riverside, there's an old Irish couple down here that do hot dogs and burgers that are really nice. That is my Sunday routine, but to be fair, I had a load of Polish sausages yesterday, so I can't have burgers or hot dogs today. Got to have some what do you call it? Self-respect on the meat. So what's my plans forward? Well, after this video, I want to go back and I've got my stand set up. I'll go through the books and why I picked those books to read. I have been doing a lot of other bits and pieces in the background as well, because when you're going, I'm going to say on this journey, because it's so corporate, but unfortunately that's the world I live in. When you go on this journey, part of this journey, I've just realised the shop's done open for 5 minutes anyway. I was wondering why I got here when it's all quiet. It's because it's just staff here. When you're on this journey, you've got to keep looking at where the opportunities are. At the moment, I'm seeing PFI contracts, which is my realm as such, relating to the cost analysis and getting buildings in a good shape. You can bore yourself to tears by looking it up. But basically, I look after buildings. I make the accounts fit the building. I make the buildings compliant, safe, and last the length of their contract. That's basically PFI in a nutshell. They often don't work like that. They're often profiteered, they're often account driven, which is why when you come in now, where they're all starting to be midway or towards the end of their contracts, they're short of cash, big style, because accountants and commercial managers have just robbed the accounts blind. And they'll deny it. No, I don't know anything about it. But anyway, that's the stuff I deal with. The good thing about that for me is the work is there, and it's there because of things like that. Because if they actually just followed the original calculations and forecasting and monitored it correctly, they wouldn't be in this state. So, for example, how the money's built up is very simple. You work out that you'll change a boiler, say, every 15 years. So if you've got a 30-year contract, brand new when it come in, year 15, and then at the end of the contract. Why do you change it at the end? Because you have a 5-year handback. So if it's a 25-year contract, you may get away with not changing it. In theory, what you should actually do is not change it at 15, maybe 20, because then when you put that one in, it will just stretch past the end of the contract. What has been happening is they just haven't been changing them at all. So like now, you're going round and you're finding a lot of issues. But that's it in a nutshell. Why do you do that? Well, for example, let's just say lighting. Lighting's got life of 15 to 20 years. So in theory, you should change it at year 20. Often won't get to year 20 because they don't maintain it properly. Things like emergency light batteries, you end up with thousands of them being faulty because there's separate accounts. I'm expanding this out and expanding out. Let's just say the lights aren't working properly. In 2023, this year, fluorescents are being phased out. So you've got to be LED. A lot of these lights were put in when they were all fluorescents. So there's a lot of issues around lighting. There's a lot of issues around fire doors, even from construction, because they haven't maintained them correctly. There's a lot of issues around ventilation, heating, cooling, all the way through. But this is where the opportunity is, because most of them are halfway through or towards the end. There's a gap in the market for people that understand the buildings, and this is where one of my key areas. This is why I'm looking at this and thinking, where is the massive opportunity? Because I'm normally sorting this out for the clients, I'm normally sorting out for FM companies, but let's face it, the real money's in the consultancy, whether it's working for local authorities or whatever to come back and actually get the money back, or is it to actually correct the contracts on this side as a consultant so that they'll actually run the term and everyone's happy at the end. Because I expect, although we're coming to the end of PFI, they will find something else similar going forward. There's another type of contract called lift contract. Now, see, this is why I didn't want to get into it, bore you with tears. But that's one of my main opportunities there, because that's big money. You know, the minimum contract I work on is probably 2.5 million a year. But I can spend, well, the biggest account I've had is 600 million in a year. That was across 30 contracts. So the point is, you can have some substantial expenditure in there. So I'll quite happily work on 10% even. So that's a major opportunity. I'm just trying to work that out. Part of this is I need to upskill myself. I recognise that, because I'm very engineering orientated. I'm very front of house in relation to clients, in relation to engineers, people on site, all that sort of stuff, and I need to move it to more corporate, which I've got to admit, I hate that world. I hate the fact of dealing with so many people that don't know what they're doing, and a lot of them go on fluffy courses. They just go, oh, I got a degree. What's your degree in? Social studies, right? Because a lot of it is degree driven as well, even though the degrees can often irrelevant to what they actually do. Madness, but it's the way society is today. It's a very strange setup. So I know I need to upskill, so I'll go through my books, like I said, and I'll discuss why I'm reading each one of them, and it'll make sense. That's why I put that separate, because there's a few books I'm reading, and the common sense behind it will make sense. And then I'll read them, and then if I find it useful, I'll let you know. So that's one strategy. We've also got the label printing machine, which I've still not got out of this box. One of the problems I've got is I've got a small room in Northampton, so I either need to drive it all the way to Spain, or I've got to find space for it and get it up and running. So still got to do that, and I know that's down to me just getting on with it. I'm just thinking, where did I put... Oh, I know where the folding table is. I may even have to get rid of my big TV to make space. Let's face it, we're moving into a new phase now. This is money-making phase. Now, the labels, there's opportunities on those. It's in my realms, because I have a massive network in the corporate side. Advertising that sort of stuff would be easy. Because it's something that's often used, and in fact I could even write a paper on why you need to do it, because it also cuts down on theft, ghost working and other things that often hamper businesses without people realizing it, because it's only when you sort of get somebody like myself come in and audit, you go, where's this, where's this, where's this, and they don't exist. See, they've never been fitted, or it's gone, you know, in the sense of engineers have bought stuff and it's just vanished, and the original one's still there, but can you prove anything? No, because you never documented where it actually went. So, and that could be worth, for a company, a couple of $100,000 a year in theft. So that's another entity I'm looking at. Another one is with Carlos around the call center stuff and what we can do with that. We've got the call center sat in the Philippines. It's mothballed. We can open that up, but also we've got Carlos. I've got access to my original agents as well. They could all homework. I know it's set the servers up online as well for dialing. And we have to look at that strategically and where we can do it, because to be fair, I'm not really into hard selling something that I don't believe in. You know, in the sense of, I want products that add value. You know, it's very easy, you know, sell PPI, sell I don't know, timeshares, sell all these other things that, let's face it, for me, I find ethically wrong. so for me, it's just not me. And I was struggling having that type of business. That's why one of the key things that I've picked up from some of the stuff I'm reading and been watching on YouTube. Because one of the things I will say as well, I do a lot of listening to different people from different angles on YouTube. You know, in the sense of, I love Jordan Peterson going through the philosophy stuff. I'll have what's his name, Simon. I'll bring his name up on the next video. I forgot his second name because I'm sat in the car park and it's written on the front of his book. I bought his book around leadership. there's lots of different perspectives, and some of it you need other people to give you why it's like that. You know, it's a bit like how to deal with some types of people out there. You've got to understand from their perspective, because some of these people can be an absolute nightmare. I mean, one of the things I've learned even myself is to stop letting people bug you. You know, I mean, a funny incident yesterday. So I was somewhere else, and I thought, I haven't been in Morrison's. Morrison's a supermarket. It's fairly low grade. I thought, I haven't been in there for a long time. I'm just going to pop in there. I think I wanted coconut water. That's what I wanted, and I didn't get it in the end. I forgot it. But I went in, and the first thing you notice is all this bakery stuff. There's lots of sausage rolls, there's cakes, and then there was 3 rows of crisps and all this junk food, and I'm like, this is the only supermarket I know that has so much bad food, and it's like the first 5 aisles or something. And I ended up, what did I buy there? Oh, I got these little steaklet things. The reason I got them, they're not healthy, but I like the beans in them. Shove those in the freezer. You know, when you get back, you think, oh, that's bad food, but ordering a takeaway will be worse. You just want to get back on the train some nights, and you just like, I want something to eat. I've got something there now. But I thought, I'll get it. You know, got what I didn't get what I wanted. I got something else. And then I thought, oh, there's a restaurant. I'll go and sit in the restaurant. So I thought, you know what, gotta go with a simple, healthy option. I'll have a baked bean, what do you call it, jacket potato with salad, no chips. Simple. They forgot the beans. I got a potato with salad. Excuse me, beans are missing. Okay. 5 minutes later, a guy comes up, and he's got this little cup about this size. So it's filled right to the brim, and it's the shape of it is like, you know, when you tip metal, you know, where you warm it up. I forget what that container is, but you know, they tip it up and they tilt it. So I pick it up with my 2 fingers to tilt it. The whole thing flips over because the weight's all wrong, and the beans just go all over the table. So I had a dry potato and salad, and all the beans were all over the table, and I just thought, okay, just have a cup of tea. I'll chill out. I didn't go, what the, you know, because I knew it was going to go wrong when he brought it, because it's the shape of it, the weight dimensions were all in the wrong place, and the liquid was right to the top, so you couldn't sort of just ease it. You had to get it over your plate before you tipped it. You know, you have to do it quite quick, and it went everywhere. But it was more a case of, okay, I'll just have my salad and I'll have my cup of tea and then go. And a lot of that is understanding that some of these people will never be the smartest people in the room, but is that their fault? Is it, you know, they're forcing a lot of these people into work now that often were unemployable. Not that I'm saying the guy was, or the woman that got the potato wrong was, but the point is, we are putting a lot of people in that A, often don't want to work, B, have very limited skill sets. And this is one of the things where government's not going about getting everybody back to work. But one of the problems you've got is society has moved that far forward that a lot of these people can't do much. You know, if you go back to people that were press workers, they just pull the lever and put something in and take it out. And those jobs are automated. That's took a huge amount of people out of industries. There's less and less options for humans, unfortunately. You know, and that's why I sort of go, okay, maybe they're not ideal for this job. Oh, funny enough, Morrison's probably 6 months ago. I went in for a breakfast in the morning, and I said, "Oh, I'll just have an English breakfast." "Okay, fine, do this." And he come back and he said, "I'm not very good at eggs. Could you have anything else instead?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll just have an extra sausage instead. Just have a sausage instead of." Like I said, don't blame the guy. You know, I know some people go, "Wow, he should know what he's doing." It's like, give the guy a break. It's only an egg. You know, maybe they need to spend more time teaching them how to do eggs, because a lot of people, I've got to be honest, my missus will tell you, I'm quite fussy on my eggs anyway, because I have a way of doing it where you cook on the underside, then flip it, but keep it so that the yolk's still runny. But I'm not going to let it ruin my day. And having an extra sausage, and the guy gave me an extra hash brown for being so polite. But you think, what does that guy have to put up with during his working day? Because he's obviously struggling with some of the stuff, and at the same time, like I said, the other one with the beans, I'm sure they have some real issues in there, because that's two things wrong in one order. But I don't need to make their day worse. The whole point is, we all have bad days. We all have something go wrong, and it's how we deal with it. And I think some of that is being able to defuse it, take the negative stuff out of it, and just go, okay, whatever, move on. Now, don't get me wrong, you may be still in your head going, "Oh, why did they do that?" But in reality, you just go, okay, fine. Beans are all over the table. I didn't get covered in it. It's not ruined my tea. Didn't flip the tea over. Yes, the potato was dry with just salad, but it's not the end of the world. So I know it's a long story, but the whole point of that is, part of that is, for me, is actually just seeing that there's worse out there. Didn't really affect things, and you'll find that what bothers you becomes less and less, because you take all these little bits out. That gets onto another book, which is Atomic. I'll come back to that book later, which is about doing sort of micro changes to your life, which it's one of the other books I'm doing. But it's those sort of things that change. And one of the things I know is I'm quite blunt and quite aggressive business-wise, because my role often entails it. The problem is, a lot of the people I work with, this is throughout the years, just like from the, stab you in the back. They don't do things to your face. It's all false personas. It's all. Now, I hate all that, but it doesn't mean I have to become like that. It just means I have to understand other ways of working that is better than that. Because I can see what's wrong with it. I can see it's definitely not the way I work. If somebody says to me, "Matt, what do you think of me?" honestly, I will tell you. I'm not going to lie. It's why a lot of time I will tell people, if somebody said to me, "Matt, did you say this to somebody about me doing something?" I'll go, "Yeah, I did, and this is why." I've no problem with telling people. I've got no need to say something differently to two different people. They will get the truth. That's it. Now, it doesn't mean I have to become dishonest. It just means I need to find new routes of getting the same message across from different perspectives. And why is this? Because I need to go more corporate. To move to the next level, I need to reshape some of this stuff. I'm stuck at the plateau because I'm good at what I do, and often sort of stuck there because where you sit is financially of a lot of use. Because you can, reshape a business if you've got somebody in the right space and they become valuable in that space, you do not want them to move further up where they may be overseeing this person that's took the role and they're not going to do it right. And as a company, that role's always been a mess. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of these companies have been lacking people like myself for a long time. There aren't many of us. And I just seen a paper yesterday from the Institute of Asset Management, and they're discussing this at the moment around the lack of professionals for PFI exit that actually understand PFIs. It's actually an industry-wide issue. So you often get held back because of, moving you could cost the company millions. That's part of the problem. The other part is, like I said, I need to redevelop how I deal with some of the people I deal with, because some of them are just difficult in the best possible way of saying it. Often backstabbing, often manipulative, no idea what they're doing, spend more time with word of the day than actually doing their job, and then reshaping it to a more positive way of working. Like I say, there's no point in recognizing their faults if you're not looking at where you need to change as well, in the sense of, we know they ain't working, we know they ain't doing this, we know this, but how do I do mine better to surpass that? Don't have the problems, have the solutions, but do it in a way where they're not riding on that, which is the hard bit, because everyone sort of clusters around trying to feed off solutions. I've had it before where, like, that director asked me to write a paper or something for something. They said, just send it to me for final review. He literally just wants to take your name off and put his name as if his own work. Done nothing all week. It's just bad management, but that's a lot of the industry issue. And one of the things I always say, and I've been using this a lot more lately, even at work, is everything's a management problem. If somebody's failing at work, it's you or me or whatever. Don't blame the individual. Now, don't get me wrong. If you've got somebody who's hopeless, doesn't want to work, constantly negative, all that sort of stuff, you may find it near impossible to change them, at which point the management issue is you hired the wrong person. But in reality, a lot of it relates to something else. For example, somebody's constantly miserable and whatever, ask them what's up. You may find out that their mother's got autism and living with them, not Alzheimer's and living with them, may have a marriage breakup going on, may other stuff that is spilling over. Now, although where I sit in the business, I'm more focused on business professionals, I've had other people that have sort of keeled over the years because wife got cancer or something else, and you've gone, okay, anything I could do to help. If you need time off, let me know, and I'll cover for you sometime. The whole point is you share the burden, but don't make it a problem. You're actually trying to find the solution for them, not the business, for them, because if you look after them, they'll look after the business. It's the same when you find out a lot of the problems that they get blamed for can relate to other people in your company that aren't doing their jobs. So you start seeing a pattern, and guess what? The other people either work for another division or they work in the business, so it's a management problem. There's a lack of process, there's a lack of ownership, there's a lack of making ownership in ownership and responsibilities are two key things. Very big problem in my industry. So like I said, everything comes back to a management problem. You can find the solution all the time. You put enough processes in, it's very hard to get things wrong. And like I said, this is quite a long-winded one today because it's a bit more corporate than normal. Because obviously we're talking about where I'm moving forward. And the reason I'll cut this off now is because you may actually be starting to lose interest in it. But the point being is you need to start laying your table out. This is why I was sort of saying I'm looking at different things and where we go from here. Set myself up on the corporate stage is a long-term thing, in the sense of I can come back to it and use it at any time. It's also useful if suddenly we get a good idea, set business up, and then I'm feed it in at a corporate level. I can get it through corporate for sign off and money and new contracts. I've done a lot of the contract stuff previously, but I'm normally supporting the contract as part of a bigger team. If it becomes our company, then obviously all that falls to me, because I'm not going to be big enough to have a team of 5 on the wages that we normally cost. The whole point is see where your needs are, see where your gaps are, see where your opportunities are. Look at yourself as well as look forward. And that's one of the things I will say is, even myself, recently I got caught in the loop, because of the UK, like this where we started, you get busy with work. Some of the people around can be quite difficult, or constantly looking to try and stab each other in the back, all that sort of stuff, and you can become focused on that. What you should actually just do is ignore it. And I'll tell you why. If you're focusing on this stuff, you're not developing, you're not moving forward, you're not progressing. They often are stuck in the same rut that they've been in at day one, or they know they're not very good, so they're trying to just shore up their position to stay where they are. If you're good at what you do, A, the company should be wanting to keep you, and B, other companies want you anyway. So don't get dragged into their world and lower your standards and self to them. You need to just go, right, you carry on with whatever you're doing. It really doesn't matter, because I'm going to do what I do better. Not for their benefit, but your own. You know, is there other qualifications you could do with? For example, myself, health and safety qualification. Although I find the health and safety courses boring, tedious, and obvious, I need to do an EBOS. It's useful on my CV, and it lets me shore up my position more on the project side. The point being is, you turn around and go, right, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, and you progress yourself. Don't worry about what's going on with other people. Like I said, they're not going to change. You're not going to be able to fix those. Those are people that see you as a threat and competition. You should realise that in many societies and many businesses, it's irrelevant. The reality is, if you're good at what you're doing, what they're doing doesn't matter. If they're that insecure, then good luck to them, because they've got enough problems on their plate. But part of everything is about seeing where your opportunities are in your personal development, in getting your way forward, looking at business options, looking at small ideas, looking at financial opportunities, whether it's investment, savings, opening a savings account, then generating the money to get that savings account to where you want it to be. I mean, at the moment, my savings account, like I said, is at 3.5k. I want that to be about 200k. Now, that's a massive jump, but the whole point is, it started. When you don't start it, you'll never get there. When you do start it, every time, like I was saying, you go, I've got 150 in the bank left that I didn't use this month, my pay's just gone in, put the 150 in the savings. And then you do that with the other money that you've already put in from last month. Funny enough, it accumulates a lot faster than you think. And then, obviously, if you do something else, I don't know, go and sell hamburgers for the weekend, and then get paid in cash, whatever it is, you think, oh, you could go down the pub on Sunday with it, or you could go stick it in the savings account, and you just start the journey. Now, the key to me is, obviously, I'm a bit further along in the sense of I've got the house in Spain, Predominantly got most of the mortgage sorted, got the renovations finished, got my office set up, got the properties in the Philippines. But take it from today as if I've started again, because that's how I work this. I never sort of look back and go, right, I've done everything, all this, I can sit back now. Because to be fair, that'll probably be the day that pushes me down to a bloody heart attack or something, because I've took my foot off the pedal. You need something to keep you motivated. And like now, we've got that set up. Now we're into the new year, new start, next level. Always going to move forward. Always be progressive. Always think how to do it. It's like, I know I'm terrible at the gym because of my work. My wife will tell you, she can see when I'm busy with work because I gain weight. And then when I stop work, in the sense of, I don't know, working from home more, I walk in the park more, I do, you know, my weight starts dropping down again. It's like a week in London, I've gained 4 kilos. By next Tuesday, I'd have lost those 4 kilos. Because when I'm in London, I find it harder to eat healthier food. I work longer hours, I travel a lot more. You have a few options there, because you go, oh well, I'll go and eat here. You should eat here. Yes, you should, but I've got clinics all over London and I'm often not near anywhere nice. I did find a nice Thai restaurant though, to be fair, and I walked 2 miles to go and eat there. But the point being is, you've got to put yourself out there. And to be fair, when I get back to the hotel at 10:30 at night, after being running around sites all day, you don't think I'll walk 2 miles unless you put yourself out there. But I'll leave that for this video, because like I said, I'm going to follow up with the book video anyway, just to go over what I'm reading. But like I said, it's all about perspective. It's all about pushing yourself forward. Always go for the next step. Don't let things push you back. There will always be problems. You know, at the end of the day, I could be like, oh, you know, my parents died, I've got problems with my siblings, blah blah blah. There's always negative stuff, but everyone has different negative stuff. Somebody has divorce, somebody has been a single childhood, somebody's an orphan, somebody's this. Use it to your positive, not a negative. The only thing that negative will do is hold you back, nobody else. And that's the important bit, is just realise you've got to move it forward. And yesterday is yesterday. So any decisions you make today is today. Forget yesterday. It's a new start. That's the important bit. Thanks for watching.